Back once again with the incomparable Craig Button to talk about all the other stuff that happened on draft day that wasn't the draft. We saw one trade, Riley Smith going to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but Kent Hughes did not deal that 5th overall pick. Barry Trotz was unable to move into the top 10. Were you surprised that there weren't more trades, Craig? We were expecting trades, more movement. What happened?
Well, I mean, bottom line is the way that the NHL draft is streamlined in the first round, you have to have a lot of trades worked out well beforehand. So unless you're going to trade for picks and everything, you know, you don't have the time to try to create a trade on the draft floor during the first round. So, you know, teams are pretty happy. I mean, every year, Jay, I come to the draft and I hear at the draft, and I've heard it for 3 decades. Oh, yeah, we want to move up. And we're on. Yeah, well, guess what? Teams aren't ready to move out of the top 5. I mean, Montreal drafts David Reinbacher. It's great that they get calls. I mean, I think the Columbus Blue Jackets said they got a call, and they said it was just an insulting offer to get to number 3. So, you know, I get it. You're eager to get to the top 3 or top 5. Rarely do those picks move, and I think despite the desire of teams to try to get into those areas, don't be surprised when they don't come to fruition, because there's just not enough ability to trade enough to get into those spots. So I'm not surprised by that. If we talk about Riley Smith, I mean, I was talking last week and I looked at the Vegas Golden Knights and I said, you know what? They're going to keep Ivan Barbashev. I mean, he's younger than Riley Smith, younger than Jonathan Marchessault. So what has to happen to keep Ivan Barbashev? You got to clear out that money. They did that with Riley Smith today en route to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Riley's a good player, but the Vegas Golden Knights have shown time and time again that they are going to do the things that they think will help them be competitive on a going forward basis. They don't fall in love with yesterday, Jay. They stay focused on today and the future. That's what the move for Riley Smith signified.
It truly is incredible, because just last week we thought there's no way they're going to be able to hold on to Barbashev, and here we go. They got him for 5 more years. Craig, though, I do want to go back. I know you said it's hard to move up in the draft and hard to get in the top 5, but despite that, I'm gonna throw something at you. So there was a lot of talk that Nashville was aggressively trying to get into the top 10, and that Yaroslav Askarov could even potentially be in play in a deal. Now, I know you think so highly of Askarov, number 11 overall in 2020. He had a great year last year with Nashville's AHL affiliate in Milwaukee. But you got UC Saros there. He's not going anywhere. I guess you could see why he'd be on the move. But if you're Kent Hughes, Craig, and Carey Price is obviously at the tail end of his career, and you need to replace him, and you've got this highly touted prospect, wouldn't it have been at least a little bit tempting if that was true?
Okay, that's great. Carey Price, obviously, with the knee injury, it appears that his career is over. So, you look at it. So Montreal is going to look at trying to, add a goaltender or goaltenders in that position that can, they can be relied upon to be a number 1 and carry it through in the years to come. They know that. Everybody knows that. But, again, Jay, I'm going to say this to you. I hear it all the time. Well, if you want to get into the top 5, make a significant offer. So teams are going to listen. Teams may be tempted, but unless you're making a significant offer, you even just said, oh, maybe Askarov was offered. Well, first of all, was he offered or wasn't he offered? If you want to play, sometimes you're going to have to say yes to a deal. Not, oh boy, I don't want to do it. You can't whistle and sing at the same time, Jay. I want to get into the top 5. Oh, but I want to give up my good players or my good prospects. It doesn't work that way. And then the other thing that has to happen, it's great that we like Askarov, but do the Montreal Canadiens like Askarov? So you might be offering something you think is really good, and they're going, not interested. So bottom line, to make a deal, you got to be willing to offer something that's desirable to the other team. And if you don't, I don't care how much you want to get in the top 5 or what other people think of the player. If you don't have a match there, you're not making any deals.
But Craig, do you believe where Askarov is right now in his development? Would you, if you were Kent Hughes right now, would you take a chance on him, just knowing that he's had a great season in Milwaukee and he seems to be on his way?
Okay, yeah, I really like Yaroslav Askarov and everything. But it's not just about, the 5th pick is pretty valuable.
Yeah.
And for the Montreal Canadiens drafted David Reinbacher, they got to see more to let a team trade up into there. And obviously, again, Like, I know what I feel about Yaroslav Askarov. Take me out of the equation. I don't matter for these trades to be made. I'm not the one going out there and saying, make this trade, don't make this trade. I can like players all I want. If Kent Hughes doesn't like them, it doesn't matter. And if Kent Hughes does like them, then maybe we have a trade. We don't even know if Askarov was being offered. And the bottom line for the Nashville Predators is, yeah, we know they have Saros, but at the same time, you know, you keep a good young goaltender. He might need another 2 years. We talk all the time about goaltenders kind of hitting their stride at 24, 25. Is there any better example than Joe Wall? Maybe Askarov is in that same position, and maybe the Nashville Predators, when Saros is winding down, have their goalie not only that can take over, but will be ready at that age frame.
Okay, Craig, I appreciate that answer, and I'm going to move off Askarov here because I think I've exhausted that subject. Timo Meier signs with the Devils on Wednesday, 8 years, $8.8 million per year, and we know about the Pierre-Luc Dubois extension in L.A., essentially the same money, the same term, somewhere around there. Now people are drawing the line, Craig. They're drawing the line to Willie Nylander. They're saying, hey, this looks like a nice framework for a Willie Nylander deal, but maybe Willie Nylander, there's some speculation that he's making the comparison, or his agent is making the comparison to what the other Maple Leafs core 4 players are making. Where do you stand with this, Craig? Do you think like a Meier deal, the 8 times 8.8 or the 8 times 8.5 or whatever, is that a nice framework for Nylander, or should he get more, or should he get less?
Well, I think it's a nice framework. I think that you can look at those contracts by Meier and by Pierre-Luc Dubois and say, yeah, those are nice comparables. And I don't think William Nylander would look at it and say it's not reasonable. But, you know, there's 2 things I'm going to say here. You know, when William Nylander is a player that's looking for an extension and can become a free agent, you know, now it becomes a bidding process. It becomes a situation now where you don't know what teams may be willing to pay to get William Nylander. The second thing I'm going to say is, if William Nylander wants to get paid what Marner and Matthews are getting paid, he's not going to be playing in Toronto. I can guarantee you that. They're not paying him that. So he might have to go to the free agent market. Maybe William Nylander is saying, I want more than those guys, because maybe I want to go somewhere else. Maybe he wants to leave Toronto and go somewhere else. Maybe he'll take 8.5 to play in another place. I don't know that. But is it reasonable when you make those comparables? Yeah. But when you're dealing with unrestricted free agency, you know, the market demand, and next year the salary cap going up significantly by all projections, maybe William Nylander says there'll be more money for me next year than there is this year, so I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to wait. And William Nylander has shown not only that he's willing to do that, he's willing to stand by it and try to use his leverage to the greatest extent possible. That's how he's got the contract he's got now, waiting to the last hour before Kyle Dubas said yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Craig. He was definitely willing to wait it out. And in negotiations, we both know that's what you got to do. Now, I got to finish with this one, Craig. There are all signs pointing to a reunion between Milan Lucic and the Boston Bruins. And already Don Sweeney is desperately trying to re-sign Tyler Bertuzzi and trying to bring back Garnet Hathaway. Bottom line is Boston's going to be tough. Again, they're going to be very, very tough next season. And now, Craig, Ryan Reeves is going to hit the free agent market on July the 1st. And there is some speculation linking him to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Do you appreciate this tit-for-tat type speculation? And do you think Reeves would be a fit in Toronto?
I think if you go and get yourself in a tit-for-tat situation, you're not seeing the forest for the trees. Whatever Boston does, why do you got to match it? Quite frankly, I don't think Ryan Reeves is the same capable player he once was. So if you want to add a player that can, you know, play somewhere down your lineup, that can be a healthy scratch at times, you can add Ryan Reeves. I think he's near the end of his career, just like Milan Lucic is near the end of his career. I think Milan had a wonderful opportunity to go to the World Championships and play well. I mean, maybe Zdeno Chara's coming back too for the Boston Bruins too, because if it's just about turning back the clock, I don't like your chances to be successful when the clock is moving forward.
All right, Craig, you still have several more rounds of the NHL draft to get through tomorrow, so as in Thursday. So we're going to let you go. But, man, you were great today. I mean, this was a great performance by you today, Craig Button. Thank you for this.
Always my pleasure, Jay. And guess what? I do like Askarov. But I think you might be the biggest Askarov fan I've come across in a long time.
He might be my new Bobrovsky.